So it's like...
More like bewildered, right?
Well, more like pits of despair. Because it's like, you realize that you're the only... There's no one else in this world. And you are going to be alone forever. It's like, Sam? You know, isn't like, Sam is like someone you might be able to be with again. And then once you realize that it's just you, you're like, no, I'm Dr. Anderson. It's the biggest letdown in the world. Alright.
But no pressure.
Okay, no pressure.
One Victor, take 3.
Alright, welcome back everybody. My name is Ben Schubert. I am a filmmaker. I'm based in Vancouver. And last week, I dropped a film. Or at least, I put out a film. However, I placed the film into the internet. That is what I did. So today we're going to talk about that film. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I recommend it because I made it and I find it interesting. But that's my own self-involvement. Or maybe you checked it out and weren't sure what the hell was happening. I recommend watching it again. Or, keep watching and get some spoilers. Maybe that'll help. Maybe it won't. It's a weird art film, but that's just the crazy world we live in. So this is a project I've had on my drives for years. It's a project that has been very close to me. I've been very interested in it. I've had really high hopes for it. And almost because of that, it didn't really do a lot. It mostly sat on drives, mostly because I was too excited about the possibility of what it could be like that I never actually got it done. And because of that, it never saw the light of day until, last week. So today we're going to talk a bit about that project, what happened, why I made it in the first place, and why you should finish your goddamn work. Me? That's really just a note for myself. If you feel like you need to finish your goddamn work, then go for it. But I definitely have projects that I've been needing to finish. And a big part of why I finished this project is because I needed to clear up my head so I can start new projects. So Protocol 7B, what the hell was that? So originally I was asked by Gallery West, which was an art gallery in Toronto, to create an installation as part of a larger exhibition on Western Canadian artists on the topic of change. And so this was the project that I came up with. So if you notice in the film, each character is essentially interchangeable. Both actors are playing both characters and it just switches back and forth through their perspectives. So originally, I had a film for each perspective. So that 5 minutes was all one character's perspective or one actor's perspective of that character. And so we'd do, Sean's side, and then we would do Loren's side. And then the third one was essentially what you just saw, which is the mix. I really like that it has a puzzle to it. I really like that it makes you work to put the pieces together. It's not as clear up front, even though all the information is there. And, some people have an easy time putting that together, and some people ask me about it years later. Mom. So the installation part of it happened about 2012, 2013, something like that. It's been years. And my original plan was to, make the bigger project and then take this little piece, edit it down, get a soundtrack, get sound effects, do, a treatment to it, do the visual effects properly, and then essentially send it out to festivals. But, life gets in the way. And it took me time to work with my composer, get the music out, do the visual effects myself, and then essentially do the sound effects and sound treatment myself. And a big part of why it took so long isn't other people. It's entirely because I had this big sense of perfectionism, where I thought this film had so much potential and needed to be great, and because of that, I made things take way longer than they needed to. Had I just said, yeah, good enough, let's go, this would have been done way sooner, years ago. But for me, I wanted things to get better and better and better, and because of that, I sat on it longer and longer and longer. And eventually, I got the same film. It's the exact same film. I've had all of this content for years. I just needed to put the last pieces together and put it out there. So originally, this project had no music. It was just the dialogue. And so I was just focusing on producing that, and then we did music later with a friend of mine who's a composer. I had a lot of friends who are filmmakers volunteer and come out and help with this. I didn't shoot it. I actually brought in a cinematographer named Chris Banting, who's worked on a number of films. I think he was working on The Vampire Diaries at the time. He's been doing camera work for big films and TV shows for years, so it was really awesome to have him on this project helping out. That really gave me a chance to just focus on directing and story and working with the actors, which was a really great change for me. I originally shot some of the first exterior scenes with Sean and Lauren, just quietly amongst ourselves. Then we booked a day of studio space at, Vancouver Cineworks, which is essentially like a film co-op, which shares equipment, shares resources. It's really awesome. If you have a co-op in your area, join it, volunteer, be part of it, help out. It's a great opportunity and great resources and a really excellent place to learn and grow as a filmmaker. So we had a weekend with the set. So the Friday, I came in with some other friends of mine. We built the set, which was essentially hanging, motherboards and a monitor and that sort of thing, and then doing all the chalk drawing outline. And then the next day we came in and shot everything. We had everyone come in. It was all done on that day. Even had to mop up the floors that day. Didn't do a great job and had to come back on the Monday to do another round of mopping. So you really can't do a film like this without help, and I really appreciate all the help that I got for this film. As a director, it was probably one of my best experiences working with a crew. Everyone was great, everyone got along, everyone was kind. It was like the best team. Anyways, so the day went amazingly well, and then from there, it went into post. Editing it for the installation was fairly straightforward. I got it done, I got it out, and then it sat on my drives for years. And as it sat on my drive for years, I slowly picked away at parts of it, right? I worked at the music with my friend Andrea, who's a composer, and we slowly got the music together. And by slowly, I mean I slowly got her what she needed to actually do it, and it didn't take her very long at all. And then visual effects is something that actually I slowly did on my own. All the screens are composited in. There's a lot of masking going on. The background was not as black as it is in that film. We also borrowed a lot of lights and gear from Cineworks, and then we shot it on my 5D Mark II, which was, the best camera I had at the time. And I still think this film looks beautiful. I still love the image. Yeah, you can pixel peep on it all you want and find problems. You can do that with a lot of films. But in terms of how it delivers a story, I'm very satisfied with it. I feel like when most people are absorbing stories, they're not pixel peeping. And the point is to just get them to the story. So a few weeks ago, I dug this project out of its hard drive, moved it over to my computer, and had a look at it to see where it's at. And I realized that it's fine. It just needs a little bit of sound work, and it's done. It just really doesn't need the extensive treatment I need, and I need to just move on and let this project go. Because it doesn't really reflect where I'm at as a filmmaker right now, and I'd rather it just exist in the world for other people to see. And I can move on, and I can start something new, which is the entire point of that exercise. So that's essentially the story of this film, where it's at, why it's up on YouTube now. I just want it out of my life so I can move on. I love the film. I want it to exist in the public. And if you have films that you are sitting on and not finishing out of perfectionism, you need to just get them done. And that's really just a note for myself. So perfectionism is absolutely a form of insecurity. It's insecurity that, your project is not as good as you think it is. Maybe it's not as good as you hope it could be or should be. I really saw the potential in this film. I thought it could be amazing. And in doing that, I delayed it from actually just being finished. And if you didn't see it, it didn't happen. Ultimately, I'm happy with this film. I love that it's done. And it's time to move on. So, if this video has been helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more films like Protocol 7B or, videos about me talking about how I make films and gear and all that stuff, subscribe and follow along. And otherwise, I'll see you later.